All right, welcome to the monthly recap of May. We're going to go over all the top exhibits during the month of May. First up, we have Tesla, our favorite failing company, having $800 million worth of Cybertrucks left on their lots. They can't get rid of these things because no one wants a Cybertruck. Surprise, surprise, no one wants a truck that breaks when you do anything with it. So generally speaking, the Cybertruck was already a pretty niche product. Like, people weren't gonna really want a Cybertruck because truck people don't want an electric car, and electric car people don't want this. But then Elon Musk had his whole, salute arc and all that kind of stuff, and no one likes him anymore, which definitely hurt the sales a lot, that if he just didn't do that. But here we are. And in general, Tesla's kind of just struggling at the moment. Like, the sales numbers in Europe have finally caught up, and they're bad. Tesla sales are down about 50% in Europe from when they were a year ago. So in general, Tesla might actually just stop selling cars, or at least nearly as many. I don't know if the company's gonna go under entirely because that stock doesn't make any sense at all. But yeah, not a good month for Tesla. They also have the full self-driving thing that they're testing in Austin, which they haven't tested yet. And honestly, I don't know if they will at this point. They said they're gonna start testing in Austin this month in June, but the cars just still aren't ready. Like, recently in a test, a Tesla hit a fake child at a school bus stop, like a very obvious thing that has a stop sign that says stop, and it pulls out of the school bus. Like, you've probably seen it if you drive at all. Like, it failed this test. That's not good. And then next up, we have the Klein Vision car. And this thing is a flying car, which sounds kind of cool, but honestly, I'm not excited for this at all. This thing's kind of stupid because all it is a plane with like a car body. That's really it, because you have to take the wings off and take the tail off. Like, it's not like an all-in-one package you can just take off on the road with. It's not how people imagine flying cars to actually be. And I hate to burst your bubble, but flying cars will probably just never be a thing, because first of all, can you fly a plane? The answer is probably not. And if you can, please teach me. I'd love to learn. But this thing has had over 500 test flights. It works. It's like a functioning thing. It's just kind of like, why? Like, this is not something most people will ever buy or even be able to sit in and use. It is very much like a rich people toy, which, like, I don't have any issues with that. It's just not a flying car, or at least a flying car in how you imagine a flying car, like from the Jetsons or something. But this thing should ship in 2026, and it starts around $800,000 to $1.2 million. So yeah, most people are gonna buy this thing. It is a toy. It is a big toy. And next up, in World War III news, we have Pakistan and India getting into a conflict. Now, I honestly don't know much about this. I just thought I needed to bring it up because it was kind of a big thing that happened. It was kind of a big thing that happened. And I really don't want to say which side attacked first, because from what I understand, people have said both things very loudly. And regardless of who started the conflict, it's generally kind of concerning that conflict's on the rise in every single part of the world, because that spells for World War III, which I'm not looking forward to. And since I'm not an expert on this stuff, we're gonna move on to Nvidia. Nvidia recently released the 5090 and 5080 and all those cards, and their prices have gone up because of tariffs, because surprise, surprise, tariffs make costs go up. Now, as someone who likes technology and likes having, nice GPUs, it sucks that the 5090 is so expensive. And the tariffs adding 10 to 15% is kind of noticeable jump. And Nvidia will keep raising the price of their GPUs until they get some real competition within the GPU space, because AMD's not doing it. The only hope currently for Nvidia actually getting competition is, weirdly enough, Intel, because there's rumors that Intel's gonna release a 48 gigabyte GPU model, and that could cost like $1,000, which is like half the cost of an MSRP 5090. So if Intel does do that and it actually sells, Nvidia will probably be forced to lower prices to some extent. But in general, GPU prices are probably gonna keep going up until Nvidia actually gets some competition, or AI stuff actually dies off completely, which is probably not gonna happen for a long time. It seems like it is here to stay to some extent, and there will always be demand for GPUs to run it. And given the fact that Nvidia can't even meet current demand, I doubt their prices are gonna drop anytime soon. And in that same vein, there was a really weird scam that happened at Micro Center. Now, Micro Center did not scam, to be clear. Micro Center is generally pretty good, so this is kind of weird to see. But there was about 31 Zotac card units at Micro Center that were sold, and they just had bags in them. Like, they didn't have the GPU in them, it was just bags. And this was especially weird because these were new GPUs. They were sealed from the factory. There should have been nothing but a GPU in that box, but no, it was just bags. My best guess with this is people realized how expensive these GPUs were and just swapped them out for bags, because honestly, if you're working in a factory like that, I think you'd be tempted too. And next up, we have HBO Max being back. Now, if you don't know what this is, or what happened, or where HBO Max actually went, let me explain. So Warner Brothers Discovery and HBO Max merged, and the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery was in charge of that merger. And when they merged the company, the CEO of Warner Brothers Discovery had a very, very small, tiny ego related to Discovery. He did not like that HBO Max was better in every single way than Discovery, so when he merged the websites, originally they were planning on making it Discovery, even though Discovery only had 1/5 the subscriber count of HBO Max. So as as you can imagine, everyone said, hey, that's a really bad idea. No one cares about Discovery. Don't do that. And then he didn't do that, which was a good thing. But then he said, you know what? I don't like that HBO Max is better than me, so I'm going to just call it Max. And then we were stuck with Max forever, and no one called it that because it's stupid. And then after like 4 or 5 years, he finally caved and was like, you know what? HBO Max is a better name. We're literally losing subscribers. We need to change the name back. So yeah, HBO Max is back, and the Discovery CEO is probably really upset about that. And next up, we have Johnny Somali. Now, I don't like Johnny Somali. And if you don't know who Johnny Somali is, he's basically one of those IRL streamers that goes to foreign countries and just terrorizes people in the streets. But that is the only thing this guy does. He goes to foreign countries and it's just a nuisance. That's all he is. So this guy got 7 charges in South Korea for being a nuisance. And since this guy is a total nuisance and does things that are illegal, he got 7 charges in South Korea and faces up to 30 years in prison if he gets max sentence on all of them. Those charges are 3 charges of obstructing business, 2 minor crimes, I don't know specifically what those are, and 2 deepfake charges because South Korea has deepfake laws. And I'm not gonna get my hopes up that he gets some serious time or something because I honestly just don't know. But there's a non-zero chance that South Korea makes an example out of this person who has been being a nuisance in their country and gives them a really strong sentence. We'll see what happens though. I'm kind of hoping it's a stronger sentence because I really do hate this genre of live streamer. It's the worst thing to exist. Like, all he does is go to foreign countries and literally is just a nuisance to people. That's all he is. And next up, we have Destiny 2's stolen art fiasco for Marathon, and this one is bad. And Bungie has come out and said that this was a mistake and they didn't mean to do this, and I kind of do believe them purely because I don't see the reason they would do this on purpose. But the problem is Bungie is running out of charitability because they've done this a few times. This is not the first time they use stolen assets in a game, and since they keep using stolen assets in games, their art process for picking assets must just be really bad because they keep doing it. And like, hey, Bungie, I get it, making games is probably pretty hard, but you guys gotta fix this process because you can't be doing this. There are too many accusations of Bungie just stealing art. There should not be this many. It's not even like, oh, they kind of took inspiration. It's like, no, it's like a direct rip of other people's artwork. And it looks especially bad too when you could have just hired these people to work on the game. And I don't think Marathon's entire artwork is stolen, mainly because the game's director has a very similar style of his own art. So I highly doubt they took all inspiration from like this single artist, but still, it's like really bad to just steal art and put it in the game like this. And I understand that employees leave and go and people lose track of things. I get that, but there needs to be like a big sticker on art that's temporary and it's somebody else's if you're going to use it to like take inspiration in your game or use it as placeholder art, because it is not a good look for Marathon and the game's not even out yet. Like, it needs to, yeah, it's not a good look. Marathon in itself is already kind of controversial because honestly, it doesn't look that great. Like, I wanted to like Marathon. I was excited for Marathon. The reveal trailer, the cinematic was like cinema. Okay. But when I saw the actual gameplay, I was pretty disappointed because I don't know who this is trying to appeal towards. Like, when I heard it was an extraction shooter, my mind went to Tarkov. But then I saw it and I'm like, this is like worse Hunt Showdown. Like, Tarkov is the super hardcore extraction shooter. You play that if you want to like feel misery. And Hunt Showdown is more of a fun, relaxed extraction shooter where you do lose stuff and there is some pain and some gain, but the highs and lows aren't as low or high. And it kind of went the Hunt Showdown route, and I just don't think there's a big market for that. For what I can tell, people want a Tarkov replacement and there just isn't that. And the other games that are kind of in the middle already fit that niche pretty well. I just don't really see where this game is going. I'm hopeful they'll turn it around, but I'm also a little worried. All right, and next up we have a robot solving a Rubik's Cube in 0.1 seconds. Here's the clip. All right, that was the clip. And next up, we have Elon Musk's lobotomized Twitter bot, Grok, talking about white genocide in South Africa to every single tweet on Twitter for some reason. So yeah, Elon Musk wanted to promote his propaganda a little bit, okay? And he allegedly, I'm saying allegedly because I don't know if exactly if it was him or not, but still it probably came from him, let's be honest. Allegedly, he went in there and just told the bot to talk about white genocide in South Africa, like a lot, even though it's completely made up. And he just started responding to random tweets on Twitter talking about the white genocide in South Africa. Like, these tweets didn't even mention Africa or like genocide, none of that. It didn't mention any of that. Like, you would literally just reply to random tweets and be like, yeah, so that thing you said up there, irrelevant. Okay, the ongoing white genocide in South Africa is really important, man. And it just did this for a couple hours until eventually someone realized it was doing this and stopped it from doing it, because yeah, that's not a good look at all. Like, on one hand, Elon Musk is sitting here claiming that I don't use Twitter for propaganda purposes, and then his bot went on to talk about something that's like literally not happening on random tweets. Like, yeah, that's not a good look at all. And it also shows you that, yeah, of course the people who make AI are going to use it to control people. We knew they were going to do that, and they're already trying to. But don't worry, guys. The big, beautiful bill is going to ban the regulation of AI for 10 years. I can't wait for that. And next up, we have Moody's downgrading the USA's credit score. Now, I know this doesn't sound important because it kind of sounds stupid. Like, why should you care about this? But you should care about this, especially if you're young, because it's going to be our problem, okay? The U.S. currently has a debt that's larger than the GDP, which is bad. If we're really not doing anything to mitigate this debt, like, for example, the big, beautiful bill was supposed to increase our deficit, even though they said it wouldn't because they're liars. And since it's very clear to everyone that our government is not taking our debt seriously, our credit got downgraded, which means it costs more for the U.S. to borrow, which means we're paying more on interest, which means less of the U.S. government spending goes towards actual services and things we pay for. Because keep in mind, everything the U.S. government spends is our money, okay? We pay taxes and then they spend our money. That is our money. So the big buffoons in office currently are setting us up to pay like half the country's income on interest. That's like where we're headed. And spending money on interest is pretty stupid. Like, we don't get anything if it's being spent on interest. It's not going towards roads, it's not going towards healthcare, it's not going towards schools, it's not going towards anything that we actually use. And if we keep getting credit downgrades, it's gonna be really, really bad because the cost of borrowing is gonna keep going up and the US government will have to pay more in interest and more and more and more. We're generally ranked still pretty high within the global stage, okay? Like, we didn't drop to like 50th or something, okay? We're not like low at all, we're in the top 10 still. But the thing is we kind of shouldn't be because the US dollar is also the world's reserve currency. Like, foreign countries use the US dollar to trade. Like, for example, if you buy oil, usually you're buying it in dollars. And that kind of stuff is really good for making your currency worth a lot. And the fact that we're still fumbling is really bad. So yeah, it's really important that the government actually tackles the deficit, but I have no hope they'll actually do that because the current administration is a joke. All right, and next up, we have a big boat that hit the Brooklyn Bridge. That's all this is. It is a boat crashing into a bridge. I don't know why they did that. It was kind of silly, but they did it. And it crashed into the bridge. So yeah. And next up, we have Outdoor Boys quitting. Now, I actually didn't know about Outdoors Boys, and I'm kind of sad now that I found out about him as he's quitting because the content's pretty sick. So from what I understand, he blew up on TikTok and then became really, really big on YouTube. He was already a big channel on YouTube, but then TikTok really took him off. And he basically, in his quitting video, he said, yeah, I'm too popular now. Which, like, yeah, I can kind of understand from his perspective if he has like a family and everything like that, and he wants a more private life. And like, to put into perspective how famous he was, he said in this video that he was getting recognized a lot in person. And keep in mind, this guy lives in Alaska, where there's like no people. So him getting recognized in person in Alaska is pretty crazy. But since he's made this quitting video, people kind of have proved his point that he should have quit a while ago because people are being weird about it. Like, I understand that you like your boy who makes outdoor content, okay? I get that. But like, just because he quits doesn't mean you dig up things about his wife and blame her for it, okay? Like, doing things like that is not gonna make him come back. It's gonna make him get farther away. Like, do you think he's gonna choose some random internet stranger over his wife and kids? I don't think so. And next up, we have Star Citizen, the game that will never come out, getting into some trouble because they added microtransactions. And you might be thinking, wait a second, isn't the whole game just microtransactions? And yes, you're correct, but this one's different. So basically, the whole thing with Star Citizen was like you could buy like the most bare bones ship and earn everything by working in game. Like, if you wanted to be an Amazon delivery driver in space and pee in bottles, you could do that. And you could use your Amazon delivery wage to buy things in the game. It was like an IRL simulator in space, basically. But recently, the people who work in the game added flight blades to the game that make your ship faster, but you can only pay for them. Like, you can't earn them in game, you can only pay for them. And this is pretty bad because Star Citizen promised to never add stuff like this, and they did it anyways after they raised like $1 billion for the game or something stupid. So like, they raised all this money for the game, and now they're still trying to nickel and dime to people who actually bought this pipe dream. Like, keep in mind, this game has been in development for like 10 years. I heard about this game when I was like 13 years old. And I think a lot of the fans of the game feel like personally attacked and insulted because for the longest time, they had this defense of the game that it was like, hey, it might be like $50,000 to buy the best ship in the game, but you can earn that in game by grinding. And then now that they've added these wings, that might not be true anymore. Because let's be honest, if you're into Star Citizen, you've probably been bullied a little bit because like, yeah, the game's not coming out, bro. But the game is basically vaporware. It's been in development for like 10 years and it's still a shell of what it's supposed to be. But I do hope they backtrack this because for the people who did buy the game, the illusion should be kept alive a little bit longer. And next up, in more gaming news, a judge has forced Apple to put Fortnite back on the iPhone, and they're very angry at Apple. So basically, for the last couple years, Apple and Epic Games have been having lawsuits back and forth. Basically, Apple charges 30% commission fee every time you buy something on an iPhone. If you've ever bought something on a phone, it's more more expensive on a phone than a computer, that is why. Apple and Google want their cut. And Epic Games sued them for this because, yeah, it was ridiculous. And Apple has finally lost, and a judge has said, hey, put Fortnite back on the App Store and let them do whatever with payment methods. So now developers can add an external payment method to avoid having to pay these stupid fees. And in more gaming news, we have LEGO shutting down a Bionicle fan game. Now, I really did not like reading about this because it really sucks. So there was a fan Bionicle game being made for 8 years. And this thing has accurate lore, it's super in-depth, it's actually a crazy demo. There's gameplay on the screen right now. Like, this thing is unironically kind of insane. And this game was just free, okay? They weren't charging for this. And LEGO still shut down this project after 8 years. And it's like, do you guys not like having a dedicated audience? Like, really? And you spit in their face when they make you a game like this? Are you insane? Yeah, I'm really not a fan of LEGO pulling this game because it really was just a passion project for these people. It had like a full team behind it. It was crazy in depth. And like, on top of that, Bionicles aren't in production. No one's making Bionicle stuff anymore. What's the problem, bro? Okay, and next up, we have something that I care about a little bit. We have the Dodge 4-door electric sedan. And this thing kind of blows, okay? And I'm gonna explain why. This is not a bad car because it's an EV. It's a bad car because it sucks. It's a bad car. From everything I've seen about this car, the interior is nice. The outside styling is pretty okay. But the way it drives, I've heard, is just horrible. Like, seasoned car reviewers who like EVs rode this thing and said it was the worst EV they've ever driven type thing. And I don't know what Dodge is doing because Dodge makes the V8s. Okay, they make the Hellcat V8s to go vroom vroom. And I understand switching to EVs. I was actually hoping this thing would be good so I could maybe consider getting a used one later, but no, it's bad. It sucks. If reviewers are saying a Hellcat has better throttle response than an EV with instant torque, okay, instant, there's a definition of it, and it's instant. If a gas car has better throttle response than an EV, you're really messed up. The car sucks. So yeah, that kind of blows. I was hoping this would be good, but it's not. And next up in more car news, we have Apple CarPlay Ultra, which if you drive, you probably use CarPlay or like Android Auto or something. I personally use CarPlay, and honestly, it's pretty sick. The only thing I have gripes with is the fact that wireless sometimes just bugs out and stops working, which is relevant, okay? But Apple CarPlay Ultra is gonna be more on board. Like, the software should be preloaded on the car, and it's kind of the whole software that runs the car. That's the vibe I'm getting from what I read in the article. And the first car to get it is gonna be a next generation Aston Martin, so an expensive one. But honestly, from the way it was described, it doesn't seem like much of an upgrade from the current CarPlay, and it might be a downgrade. It being more integrated into the car and less relying on your phone isn't necessarily a bad thing, but apparently with Apple CarPlay Ultra, you can't plug your phone in to use CarPlay. It's only wireless, which I think is pretty stupid. Like, as someone who's had issues with CarPlay and all of them being wireless, this is a bad decision in my mind. Like, I'm sure if you've had issues with CarPlay, it's probably only when you use wireless CarPlay and not when it's wired. And on top of that, wireless CarPlay might indicate that Apple is getting rid of the charging port on an iPhone altogether, because we all know they don't like USB-C. They didn't want to use it. The EU forced it upon them. And there's been rumors about a portless iPhone forever. So it would not surprise me if they're moving in that direction with CarPlay. So yeah, we'll see what happens with Apple CarPlay Ultra. It's probably not going to exist on normal cars until like 2028 at the absolute earliest. We'll see what happens, but whatever it is though, it is probably better than GM's option, which is their own infotainment, because we all know that's going to be terrible. And next up, we have the Italian government being mad at people pirating sports. Now, I read this, and I didn't read much about it because, like, I kind of want to talk about piracy in general, okay? And all I hear about recently is sports companies talking about piracy eating into their margins. And all I gotta say is, sports companies, if you want me to watch your garbage, you need to have it be accessible. As someone not into sports, I have no idea where to watch any sports. And when I look it up, none of it's clear, okay? None of it is. It is quite literally easier to find a pirated version of the sport I want to watch than it is to actually buy the official license to watch it. If me finding a pirated version is easier than finding the official, why would I find the official that I have to pay for? That makes no sense. That's stupid. And next up, we have Google Veo 3. And now this is concerning. So Google released this text to video generator that works shockingly well. And first of all, yeah, this was definitely trained on YouTube. Okay, we all know it was. Let's be honest. This was trained on YouTube content. Let's be real. And second, yeah, I don't see how this stuff goes correctly at all. Like, I understand that this kind of stuff can be used in very, very niche applications, and it will probably be used in Hollywood, etc., etc. But as of now, the potential negatives for tech like this is like astronomically high compared to the positives. I just don't see very many positives for tech like this at all. Please, if you have some hopium, give it to me in the comments down below. But like, this tech existing, I don't see a good outcome for this at all. Like, what is the good outcome of this kind of tech existing? All I see are ways for people to lie and manipulate and be deceptive. That's like what I see with this, and that could just be the cynic in me, but like, I genuinely don't see very many use cases with this kind of stuff besides being a bad actor. That is the most common use case I see for tech like this, is just people being bad actors. Like, I'm sure there are some use cases that exist that I'm not thinking of currently, but the most obvious stuff is like, oh wow, people can fake stuff so much easier now. Fantastic. And next up, we have two things. Number one, the Golden Dome. This thing is dumb. It will never exist. It's stupid. I just wanted to say that because I hate it. It's a dumb idea. And then number two, another stupid idea from the same stupid brain. Donald Trump threatened 50% tariffs in the EU, and then he said they were going to happen in June, and then it was like, oh wait, never mind, and then postponed them to July. So like, honestly, at this point, they're probably not going to go into effect. Just act like they aren't there. Because like, yeah, he's going to backtrack. He's going to change his mind again because he's senile, okay? He's a senile old man. And next up, we have Elon Musk backing out of politics and also having a black eye because his 5-year-old kid apparently punched him in the face, and like, yeah, that's believable. So Elon Musk backing out of politics is very obviously because it backfired on him immensely. Like, no one likes him anymore because, yeah, he's kind of a clown. I'm honestly surprised he backtracked at all because, like, I think the damage is done. I don't think it matters at this point if he backs out. I think his reputation's already screwed. But the black eye he got, yeah, that was not his 5-year-old kid. I don't know who did it. I heard Stephen Miller, but I have no idea. I just know that that black eye is not from a 5-year-old. Okay, it just isn't. And next up, we have Discord adding advertisements. And we all knew this was gonna happen. Ever since Discord has talked about going public, we knew the enshittification was bound to happen. And Discord is adding advertisements in the form of like, choose to watch, and if you watch them, you can get orbs. And those orbs can go towards buying things in the shop or buying Nitro to have no ad. Now, I actually think this is probably one of the better ways to do it. Like, Skype's model was like, hey, here's banner ads like everywhere, and no one liked that. So I actually think this is a better way to do it than like Skype did, for example. I mean, personally, I'm still not hyped for it because they're ads on Discord. I just don't want them there to begin with. I understand, though, that Discord has to make money, and they haven't done that ever since inception, so it makes sense. The thing that concerns me about Discord adding ads is that realistically, it's only gonna get worse if they don't make the amount of money they want to from the ads. It's only gonna get worse and worse and worse until they're making enough money to break even. So I hope whatever system they put in place to begin with actually works out for them and they make money, because I really would rather not have Discord turn terrible. Like, I like Discord. Discord's pretty good. There's like one feature I want, which is like, let me pin DMs. I don't know why I can't do this. It's really stupid. Like, why can't I just pin a favorites list? Like, why? It's so dumb. But I think Discord could also just do things that aren't ads to make their service more appealing to pay for. Like, for example, make Nitro better. Why is there a 500 megabyte limit? That's ridiculous. Like, there's a lot of things I'd rather hit Discord do than ads, but like the way they're doing the ads aren't the worst thing in the world, and I'd rather have them try things now than desperately try to implement them later and have them really, really fumble. And next up, we have City Sweetie releasing bathwater soap because, yeah, that's just where we are now in the world. This is just a normal thing that's gonna keep happening. I really don't have anything else to say besides there's 5,000 bars of bathwater soap, and like, yeah, we obviously know that Belle Delphine started this whole trend, and if you're interested in it, it's available June 6th, because I know at least one of you watching is interested in the soap. Okay, at least one, statistically, at least one of you watching cares about this. And next up, we have Donald Trump's brain being Swiss cheese because on True Social, he reposted a conspiracy theory about Joe Biden being executed and replaced by a clone. I just thought you should know that, because if I had to take the psychic damage from knowing the information, you do too. But that's been the monthly recap for May. Let me know in the comments down below, like and subscribe if you're new, and follow me on Blue Sky down below, and I also have a Discord server down there as well, and have a good one.